because if anyone hears what you're listening to, they're gonna be like, in public? Yeah, the month of January was absolutely terrible. It sent me in a reading slump. I was really upset and really indecisive about what books to start because I just kept reading these duds and I kept getting books that I would not finish because I would get like 20% in. And one thing about me, I'm not forcing myself to read a book. If I don't like it, I don't like it, and I'm gonna not continue to read. I had a lot of 2 and 3 stars. I was like, okay, somebody's recommendations ain't hitting like they should be, because why are these books duds? And then the month of February came and swooped in and stole my heart with these great books. Here are my February reads that I really enjoyed that got me out of my reading slump. Instead of going book by book, I've developed some themes. So we're gonna touch on these books by themes. We have 3 of them. We have 6 books. Let's dive into it. But wait, first, my name is Kiera. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you're not new, welcome back to my little corner of the internet. Come on in, take a seat. You know, we got drinks in the back. The first theme is second chances. If you miss your first shot, you take another one, and oh, look at that, you made that one. If you like second chances, you're gonna love these 2 books, and I gave them both 5 stars. And those books are One True Loves plural, by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Now, if you are familiar, you know, with the writings of Taylor Jenkins Reid, she also wrote Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I really love that book. So I was excited to dive into One True Loves. One True Loves, I'll give you the summary. This isn't a spoiler, because it's on the back of the book. There's a female main character. She marries her high school sweetheart. They have been in love since high school. They get married, and almost a year later, he gets on a plane, and then he loses contact. He's presumed dead. Everyone at home is like, oh my God, what? So she has to process having a dead husband, and she heals. She falls in love with someone who revisits her life in also a second chance form. Falls in love with him. They are in love. They're about to get married. And then boom, her phone rings. Hey, remember that husband that we said was dead? He's not dead. He's alive and he's coming home. We go through this story of watching her choose between her true loves. And I really love the title of the book because as you read, like, there's the obvious conflict of the 2 love interests for the female main character, but there's also a subplot of the female main character and her sister that I feel also touches on the One True Loves aspect, because they were bumping heads at first, and then in the end of the book, they really end up needing each other in a way that really struck my heart chords. Like, I cried more about the sisters' relationship than I did about the 2 love interest relationships. But the story was super well written. Now, I wasn't always super happy with the female main character. She made some terrible mistakes that I would have never done, but then it wouldn't be a good book, right? But yeah, gave that book 5 stars. I really didn't have any notes. I really enjoyed the story. I would read it again, and I highly recommend it. Now, Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan is a book that touches on the aspect of, okay, we tried it once, it didn't work out, let's give it another go. And I don't really normally those type of books don't really strike my interest. And I will be honest, I read another Kennedy Ryan series last year. I think I ranted about this, but that book, I was not happy with the book at all. And I was like, I'm not reading no more books by Kennedy Ryan. But then my friend was like, look, I know that you didn't like that book, but you have got to read these 2 books. I said, okay, I'm gonna get to them. I added them to my TBR. Kept seeing it pop up. Kept seeing people go on about these 2 books. I said, I'm missing out. Let me read. So I read that during Valentine's Day. This book centers an ex-married couple, Josiah and Yasmin, and they were together. They had 2 beautiful kids. They have a house, successful business, marriage is great, and then they experience a loss. Anyone who has dealt with loss knows how it can change the dynamics of a relationship, and in this book, it does just that. But at the same time, now that they're comfortable co-parenting, they're running a restaurant together, and they're able to process more of their feelings through different everyday interactions that happen, those feelings start to resurface. And so what do you know? Things pick up. Gets a little spicy. I really love how Kennedy Ryan, like the reality of the book was so just vivid. I saw myself, I saw people I know, I saw the characters as like people. I was like, oh, this is happening to my friends. Like, this is how relatable it feels. There's like a scene where the dad has taken his son to the barber, and the barber's his friend. And so they're like having a conversation about something, but it's not a conversation to have in front of the son. So without saying anything, they're looking at each other. The dad and the barber, they're giving each other a look. You know, the look that says, you gonna tell me about this when we get a chance. The look that says, I'm not forgetting this moment happened. I'm bringing this back up when there's not a kid in the room. Also, the emotional intelligence of the characters, especially the guy. I really enjoyed Josiah's reflection and his growth, because at one point I was like, okay, Josiah, we get it. You're too much of a man for therapy. Ooh, aren't you so manly? But then like he starts to break his shell and he warms up and things happen, and I'm just sitting here rubbing my feet and giggling and blushing and my volume down in the car because the book is spicy. But yeah, those two books, good second chance books. If you're into second chance stories and tropes, then those are the two books for you. My next theme is Hidden Identities. And the two books that I read, I gave these books 4.5 stars. Some character is hiding a part of themselves from us, from the people they're presenting themselves to in the world. Them hiding something about themselves is causing things to happen in other people's lives. So with that theme, I had two books. I had The Vanishing Half by Bennett, and that covers twin sisters, Stella and Desiree. Listen to this audiobook, y'all. It's a masterpiece, if I may, in audiobooks. But it follows twin sisters from a small black town in Louisiana, and they run away as teenagers, the twin sisters. They go on to live separate lives, but one sister lives her life as a black woman, as she is, and then the other sister lives her life as a white passing woman. So she's living life as a white woman, and the other sister's living life as a black woman. Now, the passing white, she hasn't told her husband or her kid that she's white passing. So they think she's white. She's living life as a white woman. And the story progresses. We learn more about each of them and why they chose to proceed with their identities and how they've been living with that. But then things get shaken up because they have kids. And somehow these kids' lives intertwine. And as they intertwine, things start to unravel, secrets start to come out, and it's revealed to certain people about true identity. And so what happens after that is even more of a interesting development. It's just interesting to see how one generation can uncover the secrets of another and how they're all having to deal with that. And so that book got 4.5 stars from me. I really enjoyed that book. When I posted I was reading it, I got so many messages. I was like, Key, you are going to love this book. So I was super excited to read it. And it did start off a little slow, but I really just was immersed in the book. I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to anyone. And then the next book, Hidden Identity, is Steve Kavanagh's Kill for Me, Kill for You. Now, in this book, two strangers meet. Again, not ruining anything. Two strangers meet. They make a pact to commit murders on each other's behalf. Then that way they can have an alibi. They won't be a suspect. And, it's the perfect crime. But of course, with the perfect crime, things happen, always. It's never a perfect crime. Let this be a lesson to anybody watching. It's never the perfect crime. So these strangers make this plan and this pact, but one of the strangers might not be telling the whole truth about herself. She might be hiding part of herself from the person she made a pact with. So what happens when that happens? Shit hits the fan. And that's why I gave this book 4 stars. It was a psychological thriller, high pace, and it had an amazing plot twist. Oh, like when I heard it, I was washing dishes and I went, oh my gosh. You ever have a vocal response to the book? Oh, my husband's looking like, what happened? I'm like, this book, it's great. My third theme is facing the past. Every day we take actions, we make decisions that can affect one another. And some of those actions we really have to reflect on to see like where we played a part, how our actions played a role in whatever went down. So in the book, Carter Wilson's Tell Me What You Did, I featured this book in my vlog last week, one of the vlogs. I saw it in the bookstore. It was featured, so I took a picture of it. I was like, I'm getting that on Libby. Sent it to my friend. We started reading. I read it, and the premise of the book is great. Woman hosts a podcast, true crime podcast, where she has anonymous people call in to confess to crimes. She's not responsible for if any law enforcement, tracks them down or whatever, but this is just a chance for them to tell their story. It doesn't do like psychos who hurt kids or animals, but she does pretty much anything else. So people call in, that's her podcast. It's giving crime junkie. Yeah. But one day a guy calls in and he's a little extra crazy. And because he's a little extra crazy, things start to happen. And he flips the script on the host by wanting her to tell him what she did. Because a podcast is called Tell Me What You Did. So that's her thing. She's like, you have 15 minutes to tell me what you did. Then he gets on there all crazy. And it's like, you have 15 minutes to tell me what you did. And it's nuts. I didn't really like how the ending played out. I wish it would have went a different route. But the premise of the book with the action, with the true crime element, the podcast element. I love a book with like a podcast or a media element. I love when the main character has a blog or a YouTube channel. I love it. But yes, because of this creepy podcast guest, the host now has to make the decision to revisit the past and be honest about what I did do, or try and risk putting people I love in danger. My kind of story. And then we have Kennedy Ryan's This Could Be Us. Yes, I already mentioned Ms. Ryan, but I'm mentioning her again. And Can't Get Enough comes out, I think, in May or March. I'm so excited to get it. It's the third book. There's Soledad, Yasmin, and Hendrix. We got Soledad's story, we got Yasmin's story, and now we get Hendrix's story. And I love Hendrix. So Kennedy Ryan's second book, This Could Be Us. It's the second book in the Skyland series, and Skyland is the area where these series takes place. So Soledad is experiencing changes in her marriage and in her love life. And as Soledad is recovering from the effects of heartache and heartbreak and dealing with the realities of what she had been putting up with in the past, she's really like on this love myself journey. And again, she makes a TikTok. She becomes like a content creator and influencer. I really love that aspect of the book. I really enjoyed it. And in the process, she's dealing with this guy who started off on the wrong foot with a few people. And I don't want to spoil it if you haven't read it, but it's not like a spoiler. But yeah, so she hits it off with this guy. And so now they're balancing back and forth of, okay, we like each other, but also, hey, I just got out of a terrible situation and I'm trying to love myself and you are messing with that because I really do really like you, but that's not the mission right now. And so they're having to deal with that while she's also having to, again, confront things that she put up with in the past and heal from that. And so, yeah, this book made me like turn my nose up a lot because I did not like the Soledad's ex-husband. And again, Kennedy Ryan book is spicy. It's hot. You giggling, you sweating, you kicking feet. Oh my gosh, you are texting your friends. Girl, listen to what just happened in this book. You're turning down the volume in the parking lot because if anyone hears what you're listening to, they're going to be like, in public? Yeah, it's spicy, y'all. But I gave that book 5 stars as well. And I'm so excited about the next book coming out. Like, I was really hoping I'd get an advanced reader's copy, but I didn't. So, it's whatever. But I am going to go buy it. If you're a fan of books where characters have to confront their past or heal from their past, then those 2 books are a really good recommendation for you. And so, y'all, that was my February reads. You know, when you in a reading slump, you're like, gosh, how am I going to get out of this? Who can I trust to give me a good book review? If y'all have any people you follow whose recommendations you trust or recommendations you also recommend to people, let me know in the comments. Let me know of any of your like absolutely need to read books, especially if they're anything like the ones I listed. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books or if you plan to. I'm sure the audience I know, I'm pretty sure y'all have read that Kennedy Ryan series. And if you haven't, what are you doing, friend? What are you doing? Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed this content. Hope you guys enjoyed. As always, happy reading, and I'll see you guys in the next video.